Hi, this is Luca the Gamer, and I'm going to guide you through Chapter 4 of the Resident Evil 4 remake. The fourth chapter of the Resident Evil 4 remake sees Leon exploring several hidden Los Illuminados shrines along the shores of the lake. It's one of the more open-ended chapters, as you can complete the objectives in almost any order, so if one's giving you trouble, then you can try again after doing something else. With this video at the ready though, you won't have too much trouble. We've got a complete walkthrough for the chapter, ensuring you'll be able to get the Church Insignia and find yourself one step closer to finding Baby Eagle. Chapter 4 begins with Leon waking up on the boat after the Del Lago fight. After a brief dream, Leon will wake up and then drive the boat over to this shack. Once you get here, make sure to sweep the area for loot and keep proceeding up the path normally, because once you reach a certain point, you're going to encounter one of these. A fully matured parasite that explodes out of the head of villagers. When a village is in this state, they can be extremely dangerous, so make sure to keep your distance. However, when they're in this state, they suddenly become extremely vulnerable to flash grenades, which will instantly kill them if they get caught by it. So if you have any, you can use it to drop this villager quickly. There's another villager around the corner and his head will explode in the exact same fashion when you deal enough damage. So take both of them out and continue up the pathway until you find this kind of shrine. Here you'll also spot another item that's currently inaccessible, but that is the key you'll need to get into the church. However, to unlock and collect the item, we'll need to gather two different heads hidden around the lake. After examining it, if you turn to your right and check the painting on the wall, it will give you the location of those two items, but don't worry, I'm going to show you where to find them. Turn to your right and follow that pathway and eventually you'll find a box, open it up and inside is the old way shrine key. So you remember some of those weird locked boxes you've seen so far? Well, this is the key you use to open them. But don't worry, we'll be able to go and check them again at a later point. Before you hop on the boat at the end of the dock, if you check to the left there's a notice for a request to find a gold chicken egg, something we'll pick up on later. Anyway, hop on the boat and once you're ready, instead of going deeper into the cave, I'd first recommend going to the right. Out here in the open water, there's a ruined boat in the middle that you can dock on it, and inside you'll find a treasure chest with a gemstone in it. After you collect that, go to your right and you can go around the edge of the boat, where you'll find another treasure chest, open that up and you can get the powerful Red 9 pistol, my personal favourite pistol in the whole game. Head back to the boat and jump on, and then we want to head to the east side of the lake. This is where we're going to find the golden egg I mentioned earlier. Hop on the boat and make your way over there. Once you arrive, you'll just find a small patch of land with nothing but chickens on it. But if you take a look around, you can find a gold chicken egg at the back. You can also find a velvet blue in the corner. This is a treasure that can be sold to the merchant at a later point. There's nothing else to do here unless you want to just stay around and gather eggs. So next, we're going to head to collect one of the key items. It can be found in a cave marked by this fire next to the castle. The cave itself is to the right of the fire and is a bit of a tight squeeze, but once you get in you'll find a small structure that you can dock next to. Inside this structure you'll find a locked door and this weird collection of buttons with icons on them. At first glance this obviously doesn't make sense, but if you look around the area you'll start to realise that all the icons that you're supposed to press are drawn up on the walls. But in the interest of saving time, here are the 3 buttons you need to press as indicated on screen right now. Once you press the right buttons, the locked door will open up and inside collect the blasphemer's head. But before we move on, there are a few more things to collect here. In the same room that you collected the blasphemer's head, look to your right for a chest, open that up and you'll find the hexagon piece C, a puzzle we'll get onto later. Then climb up the ladder to the left of it, and once you're at the top, look to your left again and you'll see another casket you can shoot to get some treasure. There's one more treasure in this area that can be found around the side of the building. Next to the ladder with the 3 squiggles, climb up that and then turn around and look up and you can see another casket that's got a gemstone inside it. That's about all we need from this area, so hop on the boat and let's get moving. Next we're going to head back to the cave we were in at the start of the chapter to find the other key item. Venture into this cave and just travel all the way to the end and you'll find this dock. To your left is a metal door that's locked, so you'll need to go to the right. Following along this path, eventually you will run into some villagers, including one that will throw dynamite at you, so keep your wits about you and deal with all of these guys. There's going to be a fair few villagers in this area, so be careful. But eventually, near the back of it, you'll find another one of those sort of button pressing tablets like we saw before. The symbols of the buttons you need to press are written on the walls, but we're just going to skip that part and I'll show you which buttons need to be pressed So take a look at the screen right now and you can see that. When you press all the right buttons, the door to the right will open up, and inside you can grab the apostate's head. With both of those heads in tow, we can head back and pick up the church key, but there are a few treasures around here. The first one can be found if you drop to your left after collecting the apostate's head, and then look at the roof of the cave, and you can see a casket hanging up there. As you can see, I had a bit of trouble hitting it with a red 9 due to its lower accuracy, so I had to pull out the rifle and shoot it with that. Inside that you'll find a silver token which can be used at the shooting range for charms. Once you've got that, continue on the path and turn left under this bridge. At the back of the area there's a yellow herb which you can use to increase your maximum health. Just hanging off the side to the right of the bridge is another casket with a treasure in it. Shoot this down and you can find a velvet blue in there. And that's all we need to do in this area, so you can head back to the boat. Head straight forwards on the boat until it brings you to another area where you can dock. Then you can climb the rocks to the side and you'll find a box at the top that can be opened by the old way shrine key. Inside this you'll find a splendid bangle, another treasure you can put gemstones in to increase its value. Head back to where the Church Insignia is. It doesn't matter which head you put in which hand, as long as you have both of them and put them in, then the lock should release and you'll collect the Church Insignia. Now at this point you have two options. You can head straight to the merchant's hideout we passed through in chapter 3 and continue the story, or if you fancy it, we can do a little more treasure hunting because there is plenty of treasures around this area. First of all, we're going to collect the treasure behind the hexagon puzzle. If you collected the other two pieces during chapter 3 and collected the piece here in chapter 4, then we can take on this puzzle. You'll need to head back to the dock where you got on the boat at the end of chapter 3, and then head straight in front of you and you'll find it underneath the walkway here. Use the last piece and then you only need to make 2 moves to complete this puzzle and get the treasure behind it as shown on screen right now. Complete this and it will lift up, revealing a depraved idol behind it which you can sell for some nice money. After that, hop back on the boat and head directly north to end up at the lakeside settlement. If this area seems familiar, that's because it is. Here you'll immediately see the house you enter at the end of chapter 1, but don't go in straight away. Instead, go around to the left where you'll find a box that can be opened by the old way shrine key. In this box you'll find a pearl bangle, another treasure that can be sold to the merchant. Then turn around and go right and you'll find a door that can be opened by the insignia key you got at the end of chapter 2. Inside here you'll find a notice for a request to catch a gigantic fish, which is something we'll get onto later. You can also find a casket hanging off the rocks that has a spinel inside, so make sure you grab that. Then head into the other room where you can find a dead body, and if you climb up the ladder, I'm not certain on this, but I'm pretty sure this is the area where you see that woman getting executed at the start of the game. You can find a small key and a smashable barrel to the side of where the dead body is, and then if you go and check the fence at the back and look to the left, you can find a clockwork Castellian to shoot. As you head back towards the house, you'll be attacked by some dogs that will fully mutate, and there'll be some more villagers in the area, so keep your eyes out for them. Once you've cleared out all the threats, head into the house you go through at the end of chapter 1. First of all, go to the left and there's a drawer you can open with that small key you just found. Inside there you'll find a gold bar. Then if you head around to the back of the house and drop into the tunnel where you found Luis at the end of chapter 1, there'll be an old man's journal that you can pick up and read, and next to it, the red gemstone ring. Finally, if you want to complete the request to catch a very big fish, you can find it not too far from where you started chapter 4. Go back to that shack and then look to your left, hit it with a harpoon and make sure you've killed it. You can tell because loads of blood will start to surround it. Once you've killed it, drive the boat over and pick it up and you'll get a Lunker base. Next, head back to the merchant's hideout that you passed through in chapter 3 and you can sell it there along with any other treasures to complete requests. And otherwise, make sure you heed the merchant's warning.
You might want to take care of any leftover errands before going this way. Be ashamed to live the rest of your life wondering, what if, am I right?
So if you're pretty certain you're done with treasure hunting or you just can't be bothered to pick up everything around the lake, it's time to start backtracking towards the church. And make sure to check this box along the way that you can open with the old way shrine key. Inside this you'll find a butterfly lamp which you can inlay with gemstones to increase its value. Otherwise, continue forward until this happens.
Shit.
Gloria a las plagas.
Yep, it's time for another boss fight. When you enter the quarry, the cultist will release El Gigante, and before engaging with it, you should run into the shacks at the edge of the arena to collect all the items inside. But be quick, as El Gigante will literally tear the building apart while you're inside. Hit the big boy with whatever weapons you have available, until the Plaga emerges from his back. At this point, El Gigante may start using jump attacks that need to be evaded with a timed button press. And more importantly, did you do the right thing in Chapter 3? And by that I mean, did you free that poor dog from the bear trap? Because if you did, he'll show up to help you. The dog will run around the arena and distract El Gigante, allowing you to get direct shots on the Plaga parasite that's emerged from his back, as only this will really deal damage to him. And if you deal enough damage to the Plaga parasite, El Gigante will sometimes fall to the ground in a sort of defensive position. When he does this, you can run up and hit the melee button to climb up onto his back and start swinging your knife at his parasite for a high amount of damage. Flash grenades can also trigger this, otherwise your best bet is repeated headshots with the pistol, TMP or rifle. Stay the course and keep your distance until he becomes vulnerable, and eventually you can take the big guy down.
God damn. That was almost a pancake.
So with the big boy down and Leon not turned into a pancake, it's time to head back to the church. Just before you get there though, you will run into this dog that mutates, so be careful and put him down quickly, and then head over to the church entrance and use the Church Insignia to open it up. Once you get inside, first turn to your right and go up this pathway. You'll see some smashable barrels, and at the end is a cupboard you can open up. Inside is a blue dial, which we'll need for the upcoming puzzle. Then head up the centre of the church and go left and pull this lever. It'll open up a small cabinet behind you. But before you go over to that cabinet, go around the other side of it and check the table for a small key. And now it's time to solve the puzzle. First of all, use the blue dial, and this puzzle might seem familiar to you if you've played the original Resident Evil 4. You'll need to rotate the colours and get them in their original positions. Now this isn't actually as difficult as it sounds. All you really need to do is identify a certain part of each colour and figure out exactly where it should go. In this case, I'm using this area to mark where blue should be. I'll switch to the green dial and start turning that until I find a spot that I think should be there. In this case it's this part at the top. With the blue and green dials in their correct place, it's just a matter of turning the red dial until it clicks into place and the puzzle completes. You'll see a gate to your left open up, so head through there and climb up the ladder, and look for this door over here. Interact with it to trigger a cutscene, and the end of Chapter 4. So that's a guide on how to get through the 4th chapter of the Resident Evil 4 remake. And just note that Ashley doesn't normally come in that suit of armour. That's a bonus thing I unlocked and forgot to change before I recorded this. But if you think I have missed anything important, please leave it in the comments below, and check out thegamer.com for more.